Welcome to this lecture where we'll explore the main ways through which you can modify your selections. Use any image you like, it won't affect the outcome. I'll use this one and I'll drag a random selection anywhere on my canvas so we can start exploring some of our options. First, if you switch to the Move tool with an active selection on your canvas, you can cut out that area by clicking and dragging. This will reveal our checkered background because there's nothing underneath our layer. Please note this only works on raster layers. Of course, this isn't helpful in this format because this area that was repositioned is still on the same layer. Let's undo, and this time I'll use Ctrl-J. Remember, this command is used to duplicate a layer or folder. Here it extracts this selection to a new layer, and now this is much more useful. Let me hit F12 so we can continue. If that hotkey doesn't work, go to the top menu and click on File. From here, choose Revert. If you're on a Mac, the tab is called Photoshop. With another selection active, you can right-click it and select everything else on the canvas through this Select Inverse option. This is fantastic for situations where you have to affect a large image except for one small part. Rather than selecting everything and isolating the tiny area, you'd rather get the small section and then use this Select Inverse command. Moving on, any selection can be feathered even if you didn't use this input field from the options bar. No matter what tool you've used to create a selection, you can right-click and choose Feather. And as we previously discussed, if you want to see its effect, you'll have to fill this area with colour. Use Ctrl or Alt along with the Delete key. Alternatively, you can use Shift F5 and this brings up the Fill command. Choose any colour and you'll now see the feather effect. All these options are highly valuable because intricate selections take a long time to create. After you're done, you may want to slightly adjust it. Here, I want to include another 2 or 3 pixels in this selection. Not a problem. Go to the top menu and click on Select. From this list, choose Modify, Expand. From this pop-up, input your pixel value, and this is how much Photoshop will add all around your current selection. Here I'll go with something generous like 50 pixels so you can see the difference. And there you go. This works the other way around. You can contract your selection just in case you selected too much of your layer. This command doesn't have a hotkey either, so we'll have to use that top menu yet again. Select, Modify. Now hit Contract. Enter your value and you're good to go. Please note this Apply Effect at Canvas Bounds is helpful only if you're using Ctrl-A to select the entire canvas. One last feature that creates an interesting look is Border. This lies in the same menu system. Let me bring it up and I'll show you how easy it is to get a nice effect going. Okay, now it's applied and you can do all sorts of things with it, but here I'll just fill it with white. Great stuff. Let me clear up any potential confusion. If I right-click, you'll see 2 transform options, Free Transform and Transform Selection. Their names tell their story, but I'd rather explain it just to be safe. Free Transform is what you get when you press Ctrl-T. Thus, if you select it from this list, you'll be able to resize this selected area. Please be aware that my selection's aspect ratio is being preserved by default. That's because I'm using Photoshop CC 2019. In case you don't want that to happen, just hold down the Shift key. This disables that new behavior and now you're free to adjust it however you want. On the other hand, if you're using an older version, be it Photoshop CC 2018 all the way down to CS4, when you want to resize your selection, you have to hold down Shift to maintain its aspect ratio. So depending on your version, Shift does 2 completely different things. Okay, that's Free Transform. Let's continue. On the other hand, Transform Selection is highly useful, and I encourage you to use it whenever you have tricky spots. Once you enable it, you'll get similar handles like you get with Ctrl-T, only this time you're only adjusting your selection and not your actual pixels. As you can imagine, this will come in handy in lots of situations. If you right-click, you'll get all sorts of options we've talked about already. For me, the star of the show is Distort. This is what you'll most likely need in your real-world projects. You can either select it or you can hold the Control key, and that does the same thing. Notice that as I go over my edge, my cursor changes. Photoshop tells me I can grab this area and fool around with it. But if I hold down the Control key, this changes my cursor yet again, and now I'm using the Distort command. Through it, I can adjust this selection to all sorts of irregular shapes, and that's where you'll need it the most. For this lecture, I've used mainly a rectangular selection, but believe me, you'll have to select all sorts of random shapes, and this is bound to come in handy. Okay, that's it regarding modifying selections. We have a few other interesting options, but we'll cover those in the next lectures. Please continue to watch the upcoming ones so you can get the full picture. I'll see you in a second.